and welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. I am Felicia Connor.
And I'm Tani Ray.
And tonight we have a really fun night. We have the amazing ladies, Tricia and Miranda from Rocks, Paper, Salt, joining us for A Nightmare on Elm Street. Welcome,
Yay.
welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And if you're
Thanks for
listening,
being here.
thank you for being here. Sorry, Tony, I interrupted you. If you are listening, just pop over to the YouTube to check them out. They're awesome. They have their Freddy gear on, and then you could go back and listen if you don't want to keep looking at us, but I don't know why you wouldn't. So we're so excited tonight. If you've probably seen on our social media, we collaborated with them and they've created this amazing Sleepwalker cocktail kit inspired by classic slashers, Freddy Krueger specifically, and it is awesome. How did you?
We got him.
Yeah, we got him.
We got him right here.
Again, pop back over to YouTube and take a look. That's awesome.
I'm going to take a drink now. I've been holding it for
me too.
Yeah.
2 minutes too long.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Oh, I'm
ladies.
sorry. I already started
Dang.
drinking it. I could not contain myself.
It's so good. You know, because I don't like drinks that are too sweet.
I like it.
It's just the right amount of sweet.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Good.
Did you do the full amount, Felicia?
I did the half ounce of the kerosene. And I did do a full dropper, or like I tried to make it full. So I did that full dropper. Yeah, and it's perfect. And I used Buffalo Trace single barrel whiskey.
So
Me too.
We have matching.
Hello, Buffalo Trace. Can you sponsor us? This is legit. Look. Oh, that's cool.
3
Wow.
different cities, and we all chose Buffalo Trace.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it's so good. And it's so good in this drink. I did the
perfect.
full amount because I like sweet. I like it on the sweet side. And it is so good. My boyfriend was just loitering, waiting for the drinks to be finished. I was like, okay, I got to take a picture. I was like, hang on, I got to get video of each step. Maybe not each step, but lots of the steps. And then you can have a little bit.
I really loved that added element of the burning tinder sticks underneath, or the little cinnamon sticks underneath the cup. And when you pull it over, it's all like lined and it smells good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you come up with this? Do you have bartending background? Or you have?
Maybe we should back up and explain for anybody who maybe doesn't know what you guys do.
Oh my God, please. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm so pumped.
I know.
Explain who you are and what you do. Thank you, Tani.
You want me to?
Yeah, you go.
All right. So we're 2 BFFs, and we are doing a cocktail kit, which is like, it's more than just a cocktail kit. We try to make it like a whole experience. So a party in a box is what we've recently been calling it. Because we want the user to be able to open it and just kind of like kickstart a party. So we have a drink recipe. We have all the components of the drink. We try to put together recipes where there are a few different components, so you kind of feel like you're making your own little drink. And then we'll pair it with some sort of snack, and we always have a theme, so we'll theme it out with extra accessories that we think are fun. Right? There's the Krueger cuts, the snack, which are supposed to be pieces of his face.
Freddy face.
Freddy face, yeah. And so we have a playlist. We have fun little extra flair drink accessories. Am I forgetting stuff? Probably.
There's like sometimes fun. If it's not drink flair that you put literally in your glass, it's kind of like goes with the theme, just to kind of set the whole tone. Yep.
Nice.
Like a little skull shot glass this month.
Are these candies or mints?
They're Tic Tacs.
Stay awake, fast acting. I love it. This is so creative.
So rolling back, it all started in COVID. We basically were going stir crazy and put kits together, and we would drive them around to our friends. And it's so much fun to assemble and put it together and kind of theme it out, that we almost can go out of control. But, like we can totally spin out, and like there's so many things that we could want to do, so it ended up evolving to this, where we've got the recipe card, and that we're now shipping out. So it doesn't include the booze, but it's got all of the other accessories. And Miranda's been key in like home crafting all of the small batch stuff that's made, by us for the kids. So it's really fun.
That's awesome. So I have a question. So you guys do you do it different for each month, right?
Yep.
So we're talking about going, instead of doing it monthly, we were going to make it more of like a quarterly theme, because a lot of our customers, our repeat customers, they're like, sometimes they miss out and then we've already moved on. So we decided to kind of move forward towards quarterly. So this holiday is going to be our first like quarterly go at it, and we'll see how
Gotcha.
It goes.
Yeah, and it's like we said, it's still evolving. So it's going quarterly, but there are going to be like special event kits also, like birthday kit, for instance, and then other things that are kind of all around. So there'll be ultimately multiple options to choose. But we can kind of get an even bigger bang for the buck if we spread it out a little more.
Yeah,
Awesome.
That makes sense. Because I was wondering, like, if the Sleepwalker kit was this holiday, I imagine you're going to have people that are like, oh, I'm going to have, a Christmas party, or, something during the holidays, and want something like that. And you're like, well, go get a Freddy Krueger kit. But they should because it's delicious. So. It does have the cinnamon, which smells amazing. Like,
so these came in today. How well you can see that. There's like a glare.
Yes.
Here, let me flip it over. You can see it better, sort of.
So Miranda's showing us a Get Lit. It's a car air freshener, right? With Freddy on it?
It's an air freshener, and it's cinnamon scented. You kind of see.
Yeah, it's so cool.
They just came in today, and the scent it's always kind of hit or miss with these air fresheners, because they have, but it's not like, it's kind of like a spicy, more like holiday scent cinnamon. So I'm like, it's perfect for the holidays.
Yes,
not that anyone's gonna do Freddy Krueger for Christmas, but
throw in a sprig of holly, a little like Christmas ornament, and there you go.
Exactly. It really is like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, this box. Like, I was like, I was like messaging these guys. I was like, I'm sweating. Like, this is like the coolest thing I have ever seen. It's like everything, the details that you guys put in it are just amazing. Like, down to the labels. I just am blown the fuck away by how amazing this cocktail kit is. And I'm a customer for life for sure. So,
nice. Oh yeah, awesome.
The quality of all of the things in the kit and the kit itself is absolutely gorgeous. I was blown away too. I had it open and I kept passing it like, but I can't make it yet. I can't be wasted by the time we record. I got to pace myself. Yeah, me too. I can't wait for your other kits.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for doing this collaboration with us. I'm so excited. Like,
so fun.
It's just fun. Yes.
I mean, we get super excited about all the kits, but this one was really fun too. I mean, we both love Halloween anyways, like one of our favorite, if not the favorite holiday of us both. So we were like, fuck yeah, Elm Street kid? You kidding me?
Tell us why Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, I actually think that was the first movie of like horror movie. I don't know if you count Jaws 2 as being horror.
I think so. I think Jaws is horror. Yeah.
Well, I saw that in the theater, but I was like 6. I don't know. So I don't know if that counts. So Nightmare on Elm Street was the first movie that I saw in the theater on my own, even though I was only 12 when it came out. So it was kind of like a big deal for me. And I always kind of, after that, I was super into scary movies until I probably turned into an adult, like in the mid-20s. And then I started getting freaked out, going like, this shit could really happen. Like, I identify with these characters.
It's a little too real.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, that's why I like have a love for Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
My first experience of like, I'm pretty sure it was the opening weekend because it was sold out. And me and my friend, I spent the night at my friend's house, and we talked her mom into buying us tickets and not going with us. And a bunch of our friends from junior high did the same thing. And we all wanted to sit together because we're all like scared. We're going to see a scary movie. And it's sold out. So there are no seats together. So we ended up sitting in like a huddle front row, but there weren't even enough seats in the front row. So we were like on the floor in front of the front row, like 4 kids deep, all watching it like this. Wow. And like being that close to the screen in 1984 is like today being at an IMAX 3D movie.
Yes.
And like his face when he popped out, it was like, God, Jesus. Like,
do you still have neck problems from
I do,
craning up at the screen? Because
totally.
That's awesome.
And I would say for me, I'm kind of stuck in the 80s to begin with. I'm not too sure I've really left, but I didn't see it in the theater. It was in very early, if not one of the first. It wasn't my first horror movie I've seen, but it was the first of the sleepover horror movies that girlfriends, we'd have sleepovers and we'd go to the video store and walk the aisles and pick straight to the horror section and pick the movies. And this was one of those first ones. And I remember sitting in Nancy's house on the couch, and
Nancy,
and her name was Nancy.
Was she losing it? Like,
we were all losing it.
Was Tina there?
No, there's no Tina. So yeah, it's just, and I don't know that I've seen it since. So it's like a major flashback.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. This will be an interesting conversation. I always like when it's like been a while, because it's like, does it stack up? Is it? I don't know. We'll get there, but that's exciting.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't have a Pet Sematary experience. Probably everyone that listens to us is like, Felicia, shut the fuck up about Pet Sematary. But I remember Pet Sematary being, like I loved it. And then we watched it and God, I was devastated. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all. Yeah. So hopefully you guys still like this.
Then I'm not going to watch that again because I have a very specific Pet Sematary experience.
And was it a good one?
Well, we snuck into the movie theater. You know, we were underage, snuck in, and it was an RKO theater, and it was right alongside a particular section of brand new roadway about to happen. So it was a throughway, if you will, a freeway that had been threatened to be built for years. Homes were, people were evicted from their homes. They were taken down. It ended up being lots for years. And then finally they started the construction on this thing. And then I went and me and Sherry snuck into the movie. We watched the movie, got totally freaked out. And whenever that movie was, I don't even know, but we were walkers. So we were walking home after the movie down this path that we called the New Road, but it wasn't actually a live road yet. But they must have been doing night construction, and a huge tractor trailer style truck ended up barreling down behind us after watching Pet Sematary, which I think there was a thing about the truck, if I remember.
Yes,
right?
A big thing.
So
a little part of that movie.
We had 14-year-old heart attacks or however much we were. I don't know. But we started booking and we started running down the new road to get off, and it was a thing.
Okay, this is a great memory. Definitely don't rewatch it. So that memory is not ruined for you. Oh, I love it. And I just want to say I am wearing not a Freddy Krueger, but our friends at a podcast on Elm Street wearing their shirt with Freddy's hand coming out of the microphone. I love this shirt. Love it. So I am curious, unless Tanya, you have a question. What, if you have anything coming up, going on in the coming months that you want to share with Rocks, Paper, Salt, or anything you do?
We are going to have a holiday kit that's going to be available in November. I don't know, probably November 1st. We usually we shoot for like around the 1st of the month. And it's going to be a riff on like a New York sour, which is bourbon with lemon and red wine float on top.
Red wine floater.
Yeah. But we do ours with mulled wine and a lemon syrup that we make. Mm-hmm. And it's fucking good.
That sounds fucking good.
Yeah, it does.
So good.
Because we mull the wine, instead of a floater, it becomes a sinker, but it's still really pretty in the glass. And I don't know if you're familiar with New York sours, but I think if I remember right, both you ladies are bourbon fans, yeah?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep.
If you like red wine at all, it is an unbelievable pairing on its own. And then mulled wine for the holidays. I make it on Christmas morning. It just smells like Christmas. It's so good.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
That sounds incredible.
Would have never thought, let me get my whiskey and let me pour some red wine in it. And now I will.
Yeah, you're like, gross.
You're right.
Yeah, but so that's going to be our drink for the holiday season. And it's really good. We did it last year we didn't have it for very long though.
No, it was a short limited supply.
But people really liked it a lot, and we did too. So we're like, we should do that drink again. So we're going to do that. We don't really know what all of the fun details are going to be of the kit yet, but it will be holiday inspired. So
it may evolve a little bit. So the November one might be slightly different looking than the December one, for instance. But the drink will be the same.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm excited. That is fun.
I'm like, where do you find the time to make all this stuff and write all your copy, make the packaging? It's amazing.
The copy's insane.
Thank you.
Yeah, Miranda's the mastermind at coming up with the writing on it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and the more sleep deprived I am, the better the copy we've found.
So Miranda has these stay awake pills,
which I take right before
from
a deadline.
The Kruger kit, aka Tic Tacs. So her breath smells so fresh while she's
working away. So my husband, he usually makes the drinks. He loves like mixing the drinks. So when I opened the kit, he like walked over like, I'm going to do this. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it too with you. But he, I'm doing it too. But he, I was reading him the instructions as he did the thing. And I'm like, slice the orange in 8 pieces like Tina's guts. Okay. My husband's standing there and he looks at me and my little one, TT, she goes, what? She literally said this, what a nice touch. I don't know where she gets it. What a nice touch. Like Tina's guts.
That's awesome.
She's hired. So tell her, come on board.
We're looking for interns.
She wants to be a horror movie filmmaker one day. So she loved it.
TT the hype girl / horror director.
Yes, nice. Exactly.
So great. Fun. Okay, so you guys said you said you're fans of Halloween. Are you also in general fans of horror? I'm gonna assume yes.
Or scary movies.
Scary movies, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I kind of have transitioned as I get older further away because I think, something clicked in my 20s where it's like, okay, I live by myself now and I relate to these characters way too much. Like, this shit can happen. Like, this is too scary for me. And then I got older beyond that and I had a kid, and then it's like everything is too real. So I kind of backpedaled a bit from my scary movie watching, but I was like super into it. Like it was my favorite genre, and I was watching them all pretty consistently, and I still will, but like some of the stuff is just I can't now.
Yeah.
Things that involve children or that are like too realistic, I'm like, that shit's gonna happen. And because I watched it, I'm putting it in the universe, it's gonna happen to me. Like
yes. I have a coworker. I think that's a very common sentiment actually for many people who have. I was actually listening to a podcast episode from Eli Roth's History of Horror with Kate Blanchett, who also was a huge fan of horror. And then as she got older and had kids, she was like, I just can't watch it anymore. But my coworker is like this. So I made this like dumb little graph on like a sticky note, and we call it the child in distress graph. And there's like a chart, like a level 10 is like it. It's like children in distress. That's all that movie is children in distress. Right. And then there's like a level 1, which is like the labyrinth. And like,
I see.
We'll kind of chart it. Like, okay, I'll be like, Justin, you should watch this movie. There are no kids in distress. Like, you're going to be fine.
Right. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
I think for me, it definitely most 100%. Forget it, Felicia. Just say it. Like things like it and stuff with the kids dying, and I think I'm okay with it. I don't mean with kids dying. It's terrible, but like it's crazy and it's shocking, right? And I don't care. No, I do. It's crazy and it's shocking because you don't usually see children die, and I definitely wouldn't want a whole movie of like kids are dying. And you have that one little boy, and it's crazy and shocking, and then all the kids pretty much whatever stuff happens. But what really, really, really is hard for me is sexual abuse, because that's very triggering for me. And this movie in particular, it was crazy. I was thinking back, I've never seen it. I thought I'd seen it because I really remember the blood out of the bed. And the bathtub scene, but I think it's because they're so iconic that you see them in other places. I do remember. And I'm not going to go dark. Believe me, I'm going to turn it around and it's going to be bright. It's going to be happy. I do remember seeing one when I was in high school. So I'm 44. So it was in the 90s when I was in high school. And I went on this little date with somebody. I don't even know who it was. It was some little high school date. And we went to see a Nightmare on Elm Street. So it must have been one of the older, the ones that came later, right? Which makes sense after what I was doing my research. And the one I happened to see, it was very much, he was a child molester. And I didn't know, because I was a Michael Myers fan through and through, because he didn't come back from the dead or anything like that. He was just like a serial killer, and that terrified me. And so I never watched Jason and I never watched Freddy, because I just thought, it's just like naked women and corny and blood. And I'm like, whatever. I didn't know he had hurt children. I thought I knew he just came into your dreams and killed you. So I was inside that movie watching this movie. And the beginning was very much that he was a child molester. And because at the time I hadn't been dealing with any of that, didn't work through it. Nobody knew. I had a full-on panic attack. The funny thing, though, the guy next to me thinks I'm just fucking terrified of this movie that's barely gotten, like nothing has happened. He's like, "Are you okay?" I thought you liked scary movies, because I love scary movies. I just run out of the place. I never saw him again. I don't know who he was. So I never watched Freddy again. I didn't buy anything with Freddy, even though I love horror. I just never, because that's what I thought. So fast forward to right now. And the cool thing is I was totally able to watch this movie and enjoy it for being the classic slasher it is. Freddy for the iconic character he is. No problem at all. And I love that wasn't the case. My husband was like, I don't remember that being the focus of this movie. And I'm like, oh, you don't remember, right? Because it is. Well, come from research, originally Freddy was written as a pedophile because Wes Craven couldn't think of anything worse than that. But then when the movie was coming out, the studios didn't want that piece in it, because during the time there was a lot of really high profile cases going on. And so they didn't want it to think that the movie was politically talking about those cases. So they removed that, which is awesome. And then I guess a later movie, they really made that more of a focus. So that must have been the movie I saw. But yeah, that was not even in this movie. I mean, he killed children and this is terrible. But I'm just saying it didn't have that element, because that's the one element that I won't watch. I can't watch. But I guess they could die.
Yeah. If
but
you
it just
asked
depends
me,
on how.
You're like, don't abuse them, just kill them.
Yeah, just like really fast. No.
But if you had asked me a month ago, before we decided to, do this, and I watched the movie, what the story was with Freddy, I wouldn't have even remembered that. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's really not until the end of the movie that element really comes out.
Yeah.
So it was like I forgot until I watched it too, that was the thing. I was like, oh
yeah, they really downplayed it, which I think was a good move. And yeah, my husband was like, I don't really know what you're talking about. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't remember, but he even remembered Johnny Depp was in it.
Yeah.
His debut role. Cutie little Johnny Depp.
He doesn't even look like himself. I was like, is that, because I saw his name and I was like, is that Johnny Depp? Holy shit.
It was like one of those lenticular things. I was like, okay, he looks like Johnny Depp. No, wait, not anymore. Oh, yeah. No, not anymore. Wait, is that him? I mean, he's in the movie, but not anymore. Like, I was back and forth on it the whole time.
Yes, that was exactly my experience too. I was like, maybe that's, no, that came in. No, maybe he comes in later.
I can spot Johnny Depp anywhere. So I knew, I've always known that he's in that movie before he knew.
Before he knew.
Yeah.
Did you know that one of the main reasons he was in that movie is because Wes Craven's daughters thought he was dreamy? And so that was
I did not know that.
And they were right.
And they were right.
They were very, very right.
What are I know you chose The Nightmare on Elm Street and it's super nostalgic. Do you have any other like favorite horror or scary movies? And the reason I say that is because when I first met with Tanya, I'm like, oh, I don't like horror. Because I was thinking, just Freddy and Jason, right? And then I started listing all these scary movies that I love. And she's like, dude, you love horror.
Those are horror movies.
So by love, do you mean?
Or like, how about you like?
Well, there's a love-hate, like I can't watch it because like the one like genre within the genre that really is like a little bit much for me is like supernatural. Like I can watch gory, slash them, cut, do all that shit, but when it's like demons, someone's being possessed, like The Exorcist, no. I mean, I've seen it 100 times, but when I watch it, I'm not even kidding, as my 40, almost 50 something self, I'm like, okay, if we're going to watch this, David, who's my husband, you're coming to the bathroom with me for the next week. And he's like, the bathroom is like right next to your side of the bed. I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, so anything, but like The Exorcist for me, I think is one of my favorites. The whole, not the whole Jaws franchise, pretty much just 1 and 2. Love those.
Yeah,
love
Jaws. Them. Oh yeah, TT, my little one, loves Jaws.
So great.
Jaws.
I was saying, I saw Jaws 2. That's my first like real scary movie in person. My family let's go to a matinee. And, my dad at the time he had me very young. So he's like mid-20s. So I go with him, all my aunts and uncles, my grandma. Me and my grandma are sitting there just like scared shitless, and everyone else is like, hey, it's $2 to get in because it's like 1:00 on a Wednesday during the summertime. And I'm like, Grandma, I have to go to the bathroom. Will you come with me? And she's like, yes. I didn't want to sit on the toilet because I thought Jaws was going to come out and grab my ass and drag me down the drain. Yes. For like a long time after that, I didn't want to sit on a toilet because there was water there. It was a body of water.
It was a body of water.
a fucking shark could come out and get me. But and that's why I'm afraid to go in the ocean to this day.
Oh,
I don't blame
you.
Yep.
Yes.
I think yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think my little TT did that too. There was like a phase where she didn't want to go. She was scared of the potty in the bath, and I had to explain how big sharks were and how small those
Everything else.
entries
Yeah.
are.
Through the plumbing.
Go ahead, Tricia. Sorry.
My favorite. It's probably hard to really nail down a favorite because there are different ones for different reasons, but I really, really like The Shining. It's like one of those movies that when it comes on, I am compelled to watch it.
Nice.
I think that the progression of the acting and the tension in that movie is so real. And the solitude that it ends up portraying is like unbelievable. The performances are unbelievable. So I really, really like that movie a lot. And I just want to watch it every time it comes on. And every time I'm like panicked, even more than the time before, because I know what's going to happen. And that is even crazy in its own right.
That's great. They did the solitude amazing in that movie. Like feeling the solitude. And if I remember correctly, when they started to do like the weeks and the months, and then it was just like some time. So you didn't know like really where were you at? How many months do they have left at this place? Like what? Yeah. You kind of got lost in the time as well. Yeah.
Yep.
And Stephen King, I love him.
Did you see his version of the movie? As opposed to he directed a version of the movie and it was like a made for TV version.
Oh, I did not see that. I just saw the
also good
one.
Good, different bits of tension, but also it's a solid, good version.
Okay,
probably
I gotta watch that.
More true to the book.
Oh, okay, then I definitely gotta watch that. Yeah,
yeah.
All right, we are talking tonight about, just like we mentioned, A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. I personally watched it on Peacock. Once Tawny told me that I could watch all of these slasher movies on Peacock for free as I was renting them throughout the month. And I was like, we have so many services that we pay for and that we have. And yeah, we usually check them all. But Peacock, yeah, you can watch it on Peacock. The director is Wes Craven, and I'm sure everybody knows what he's done, but I grabbed a few like The Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, The People Under the Stairs, and Swamp Thing. A Nightmare on Elm Street, the budget was $1.1 million, and the box office was $57 million.
Wow.
Good job. Good job. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 94%. It's high. And
wow, that is high.
That's like freaking high, dude. And then IMDb gave it 7.5 out of 10. That's like a big difference. Anyway, the cast. Heather Langenkamp is Nancy. Johnny Depp is Glenn. Sue Garcia, sorry, Mr. Garcia, is Rod. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Amanda Weiss is Tina. John Saxon is Donald, the sheriff, dude. Ronnie Blakely is Marge, the drunken mom. And then Robert Englund was Mr. Freddy Krueger. All right. Yeah.
What else was the police or the sheriff guy in?
Oh, he looks so familiar.
Yes, he did. Hold on one second. Let me tell you.
Was it Black Christmas?
Black motherfucking Christmas. Yes, he was in Black Christmas. That's why we recognize him. We did that last year. We loved that movie. I'm just making sure because he was very, very. That's the only thing I'm really recognizing him is Black Christmas.
He's got a really recognizable face.
Oh yeah.
So
he's been in a ton of movies all the way up to present day. So.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good for you, dude.
Yeah.
Right on.
Good
right
job.
On,
Good job, Mr. Saxon. Right on, Sheriff.
Oh, and shout out to fucking surprise Lynn Shay in this movie. I was like, what? The teacher?
Yes. I thought I recognized her.
But she's in like every horror movie made in the last fucking decade, it felt like. And then I was like, oh, just kidding. It extends before that even, because she's been doing horror since...
Like, register. Like, I didn't really take note of the teacher at all.
Yeah, I recognized her. But yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Okay, are we 2 minutes
And now we're doing 2 minutes with Tawny.
Okay, so here's my quick recap of this.
It's always fun.
Here we go.
Okay, go.
Nancy Thompson and her friends all start having the same nightmare about a burned man in a striped sweater with a knife glove. When her friend Tina is brutally slain in her sleep, the police suspect her boyfriend and only other person in the room, Rod. Nancy is doubtful that it's boy band Rod who killed her, though, and when she continues to have nightmares about Freddy, she begins to put two and two together. She starts drinking coffee to stay awake and tells her boyfriend Glenn about all of it. She asks him to watch over her while she sleeps so that she can look for Freddy.
He had one job.
Yeah.
One fucking job, Glenn.
One fucking job.
He was asleep before she fell asleep.
Good thing he's cute.
Yeah. I mean, yes. She does find him in Rod's jail cell trying to murder him, but he sees her. He attacks her, but she luckily wakes up because sleepy boy Glenn did the unthinkable and fell asleep.
Of course.
They run to the police station, but they're too late. Rod has been murdered, but made to look like he committed suicide. Nancy's mom takes her to do a sleep study, which is totally reasonable, by the way. Loved that.
Yeah.
But she's attacked again and brings Freddy's hat out of her dream. Nancy's mom puts bars on the house and tells Nancy that Freddy Krueger was a child killer that got off on a technicality, so a mob of local vigilante parents burned him to death. She thinks this means Nancy can rest easy, but she's just getting ready for the fight. She calls Glenn and tells him the plan. All he needs to do is not fall asleep again.
Glenn.
And
Please.
Come over at midnight to kill him when she brings him out of her dream. But of course, like the sleepy boy he is, he indeed falls asleep again and gets killed by Freddy. The police, including Nancy's father, show up at the scene, which is across the street, and Nancy tells her father now to come over and kill Freddy once she brings him out. If only someone would fucking listen to Nancy.
For real.
So she goes to sleep, sets a timer like a smart fucking lady, and brings him out to the booby-trapped house. She leads him to the basement where she poetically sets him on fire again and tries to flag someone down from across the street, but it's no use. By the time her dad shows up, Freddy has headed upstairs to Marge's room and kills her right in front of them. Now alone again, Freddy appears to Nancy, who turns her back on him and takes back all the energy she gave to him. He disappears and she's reunited with her mom and friends, except Freddy makes a reappearance as the car they're in and drives them down the street as little girls jump rope to the Freddy song, and Marge is pulled back into the house.
Through the window. Which is dumb. Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, dull version of Marge gets sucked back through the window.
I fucking love Marge, but that's for another day. I just thought she was so... It's just great. Anyway.
There's so much to say about her.
All right. So we'll start with you. We'll start with you guys. How did you like this movie upon rewatching it? Either one can start.
I liked it. It brought me right back to the 80s. Like really, really did. I was like, whoa, this is it. And I actually was really thinking today, like, what would be my rating on it? I don't know if we're giving the rating yet.
No, we're not giving the rating yet.
And okay, I'm not giving the rating, but I was like, I'm bouncing on that, and I'll give it to you later when it's time and appropriate. But I gotta say that I liked it, and I think for the time period that it was, it kind of nailed it. And the thing that, like, the one overall takeaway is when I started to watch it again after having not watched it for 30-something years, I had a panic. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this again. Okay, I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it again. And then I was like, all right, I'm on like a roller coaster. I took that steep climb up, and I was like, great, now I'm here for the ride. And I took the ride, and I liked the ride.
Oh,
Good.
That's a great recap. Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It was great. I have to agree that I like that movie, and I think I can't really like separate if it's because I like the way it makes me feel nostalgic, because obviously it's different watching it now than it was watching it when it came out, like the special effects that there were none of, and all those things. But yeah, when I watched it again a couple weeks ago, I was like, yeah, I fucking love this. I like this movie. It's great. I do. I like it.
Oh, you legit started. I fucking love it. I like it.
I know, you really turned it down.
You got really in there, and then you're like, well, I mean, I like it.
I'm wearing my Freddy glove.
Yeah.
that I had before we even did this collaboration. So, it's fine. It's okay. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever.
Nice. Okay, that's good. Tani, did you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next.
Okay.
So for context for me, our last episode that we did was on Friday the 13th, and I was not a huge fan of that one. It's pretty boring in my opinion. Not my jam. And in general, slashers are not my jam. I think if you've listened to any of our podcasts, you know that, but you guys may not know that. Mm-hmm. So like, it's not my fave, but I have to tell you, and I think,
we're back.
Are we back?
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
We lost you right when you were getting into why you hated Friday the 13th. You froze. You were like, well.
But I have to tell you that I was like,
sorry.
What?
Nothing.
Don't tell me I'm freezing.
No,
again.
you're not. You're not freezing at all. I got you.
Okay,
I got you all. I got you.
All right. I was like, this is a fucking great movie. This is so good. And I think part of it is that it's like the comparison to Friday the 13th. But I think this fucking holds up. Okay. And I am not one for cheesy, zany, campy 80s horror. Like, it's just not my jam either. But there is something about this movie that I can't help but fucking appreciate. And I have also never sat down and actually watched the entire movie from beginning to end. So this is the first time that I've actually, I know, it's crazy. And I've seen scenes, like Felicia was talking about, like, yeah, I've definitely seen, the stuff in, like, the alleyway, like, with him, like, cutting off fingers. Like, I've seen scenes, but I never sat down and actually watched it all throughout. So it was a great experience for me. I was, like, loving it. I went and watched the next, like, several movies. Like, I watched 1, 2, and 3, and then I watched the remake, which is the one, Felicia, I think, that introduces the, like, pedophilia stuff, but that's like way down the line.
Yeah, it's far down the line.
And I was like, yeah, the remake wasn't great. But I was like, this franchise is just, there's just something to be said for this franchise for me personally. I like this one and Child's Play, which we're going to do next, because it's just fun. It's like, I don't know, there's this like supernatural funny element that you don't have with just like men in suits and masks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I landed. I really appreciated it. Felicia, how did you feel about this movie?
So I think I'm the odd woman out. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. And by the way, I love watching all these movies. I just so you know, I mean, I liked it. And I also, because I had not seen it before, because I
hated it.
And I also, no, I actually didn't. So how I would gauge that is if I would watch it again. I wasn't like super like, oh, fuck yeah, this was great. But I did enjoy it. I also compared it to Friday the 13th, because those were two of the movies that I was like, I'm not watching that. I'm not into horror. That's what I thought horror was, And And Friday the 13th, there were some things I really liked about it. I mean, the acting, like, whoa, you guys can go listen to that episode if you want to hear about it. But there were some things I liked about it. It was the same with this one. There were some things I liked about it. And then so the acting was pretty terrible. And Tawny knows, and anyone that listens, if the acting is bad, it's really hard for me unless it's comically bad, like Friday the 13th. And if I'm watching Friday the 13th and laughing, then I enjoy laughing. So I enjoy the movie a little bit. But yeah, so I kind of landed there. I think I enjoyed Friday the 13th a little more because I thought I probably enjoyed them the same. I liked the physical, is that what it's called, Tawny? The physical, practical effects more in Friday the 13th. Like I thought the axe in the head and I thought the murder and the gore looked more realistic, looked a little better in that movie than this one for sure. But in this one, there were some things that like I loved, like that woman dying on the ceiling. And there was some really great stuff. And then some really like, the phone. The phone.
Oh my God, that's the best part. I'm your boyfriend now.
Yeah. So I think, so I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like I didn't love it.
Blasphemy. We're gonna burn you. We're gonna burn you alive.
But can I say this? It's not about this, but I get where you're coming from, because when we watched Halloween, Tawny was like, okay, right? I fucking love it because I love Michael Myers. Like I have Michael Myers shit everywhere. I fucking love him. So when I see it, it doesn't even fucking matter. Like what's going on, because I just love him and I'm here for it. And so I get where you're coming from with your experiences and that nostalgia that's coming from Freddy. And I don't have that, right? Because I hadn't seen it. So
where do we go next?
Now we dig right in. We can talk about whatever we want, like your favorite scenes, your least favorite scenes, like anything that comes to your mind that we want to talk about. And then it kind of just grows from there, honestly.
Okay.
And then we just enjoy the ride.
Can we talk about the fact that she had a backup coffee pot under her bed?
Yes, I saw that too. And when she pulled it out from under her bed, it was turned on. It was turned on.
It was ready
and
to
it
go.
was a full pot.
Oh my God. Okay. She
under
is
the
so serious. It was under the bed.
I loved this too.
So fucking ridiculous. Okay, because let me say, because then Tawny will bookend it with some love. It was so fun when she pulled that coffee pot. So my oldest daughter just had gotten home from college and is visiting home and sat down and was watching that part, and she was like, fucking coffee. It's like a legit whole coffee pot. She just pulls it out, starts drinking coffee, and then the mom is like pulling the vodka out of the towel, closet, and it's like drinking them. I'm like, what the fuck else? What other drinks do they have hidden throughout the house?
I felt like throughout the movie, the vodka bottle got progressively bigger.
I agree. I was thinking that. I was like,
when she pulled it out of the linen closet when she was hanging out smoking a cig in her robe and just like pulled it, that thing was huge.
It was huge. Gigantic.
It's like that's her house.
The breakfast one where she was at the counter, it was like
why does she have to hide it in the towels?
Why does she have to hide it? It's her fucking house. Nancy knows you're drinking, bitch. Why are you putting it in the towels?
She's not missing anything. She's drinking 2 pots of coffee in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She's wired. She's paying attention. Yes.
Okay, I have another.
That was legit.
Here's my scientific issue. I don't know if it's scientific or whatever, but in the final, like, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to go get him. I'm going to pull him out. And she goes into the basement. And she kept going down and down and down. I was like, how many stories deep is her basement? She went down like 18 staircases. And I was like, I was counting. And I was worried. And I was like, how's she going to get back up?
Yeah.
I missed that. I'm going to have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, she goes down at least 5 levels.
one of those things that I was like, because the cops walk in and they go straight to the door. And in the time that it takes them to walk from the front door to the basement, they're not even in the basement. Freddy has somehow slipped out from underneath them and gone around them and cut into their trail, like with fiery footprints. I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't hate it, but I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. And I don't even, how did you think you were going to do this? I don't know.
One of the things that I noticed, besides the little coffee pot under the bed, which was amazing when that happened, I was like, did she just was when she was at the sleep whatever institute, the dream shit that her mom took her to, so the doctor, when he's in his little booth with his computer talking to Marge, did you see the poster that was on his wall? Did anyone notice that?
I don't think so.
I don't think I did.
Oh my God. It's so awesome. So this is his office, his place of business, and he's a professional doctor, right? The poster that's right there this was popular in the 80s. They had this series of kittens that were dressed up as tourists that were posed in random tourist spots all over the world.
I think I remember that.
And it was like, I don't even know, like postcards, prints you could buy, put them in your room, super cool, like little kid shit, right? His is the San Francisco one, a kitten wearing a like a tiki aloha print shirt hanging off a cable car.
Oh, it's so funny.
My God.
That was his poster. And they kept, and every time I couldn't even listen to what they were saying. I'm like, do you see it? Do you see what's on his fucking wall? What's going on?
The details. Yes.
That is awesome. I did not
totally
catch
had
that.
those things too in the 80s. I totally was like,
yes.
I love cats. And I was like, oh my God, it's so cute. They're like people. There was like a whole series of it. There wasn't really like internet things happening at the time, but that was like back then the same thing as like a little animal meme. There were all these kittens dressed up like people.
We're gonna look this up. I'm gonna find
God.
I'm gonna find pictures. We're gonna post it to Instagram.
I think I was so focused on, I was like staring going, I don't think the mom usually stays all night at a sleep study. I don't, because she's just like, hey, doctor, what's going on now? And he's like doing his work. He's doing his work on the dreams. She's dreaming. And she's like, oh, and I'm like, I don't think that's the way it works. It was making me giggle.
Goes to sleep immediately. They're there for like 20 minutes. And Nancy almost died and pulled out Freddy's hat.
Yes.
But also the doctor guy, I'm like, who is this guy? Because he looks like a comedian.
Oh, the actor?
Yeah. I'd seen him before. I'm like, he's like a comedy dude. And I'm like, did he have like say in that photo? Because that would make sense. Because that's so ridiculous. I'm like,
that would be cool.
I know he's a comedy guy, but I was too lazy to like figure out who he was.
You know what I hate is when I look people up and it has like their pictures nowadays when they're old. Right. And not like what they looked like in the movie.
Yeah.
So
like,
that I don't know who he is. Yeah. I don't know which guy he is.
Yeah.
So because I hadn't watched the movie in so long, when it first got started, I forgot Nancy was our lead and that it wasn't Tina. So I was surprised when Tina died so fast because it felt like Tina at the beginning was like set up as our focus girl. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. And then Nancy kind of takes over. And I was like, okay, right. Oh, yeah, right. And so like things like started to come back to me. But even still, in the last scene where she calls up Johnny Depp, whatever the kid's name was. Glenn. She calls up Glenn and does that classic, like, stand there, show me you're there kind of thing. And I was like, oh, right. They were like right across the street. Like how very 80s was that? We all had our own personal phone lines in our room for our one phone. And I was like, now everybody has a cell phone, so fine. But at the time, we felt hot shit because I had my own phone in my room with my own phone number, and I could call whoever.
Except Glenn didn't have his own number.
He didn't.
Because when she called
I was
back,
going to say.
Yeah.
His parents were on the house line.
So I was like,
Yeah.
Girl, what are you talking about calling him before midnight? Of course you're going to wake up the parents and they're going to answer. That's not how you do this.
Trisha,
Right.
I remember that when I got my own phone for the first time, my own receivered phone, doot, 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 in my room. It was so baller.
Yeah. Total hot shit moment. You're like,
That's
yes.
cool. I never had that.
Yeah. It was,
I had to share the line and like drag the 50-foot long cord and take it into my room and be like, "Hi, is your mom there? No. Waiting for a call."
Yes. Oh my God. But go ahead. Sorry. You were saying.
well, but still, I forgot. I knew that he ended up in a pool of blood on the ceiling, right? Like that's a class. But I forgot that he like screwed it up that bad. And that she was left to her own devices. And I was like, clearly she doesn't really care that much about this guy because she's got a mission to do. And she had a dream to go get into quickly with a crime to solve. But I remember being like a little bit still disappointed. I'm like, Glenn, come on, Glenn.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to help you here. We're helping you here. And then he goes and bloodies up the ceiling.
Come on, Glenn.
I feel like with some of the side comments or that were made that I might be the odd woman out on this too. I just loved her mother because I did not catch on at first that she was an alcoholic and she was so spacey. Duh, honey. Yeah, I don't know what happened, why I didn't catch that. I was like, she's so spacey. And I'm like, I'm kind of digging it. Kind of digging this like really chill. And then I thought maybe she like is a pill popper or something. Cause she definitely was spacey for sure. And even when you talk about that she was drinking vodka I just don't even, I think maybe I was staring at the daughter at that time or something. Cause when she took out the bottle out of the towels is when I was like, oh, she's an alcoholic. And then my daughter, you know what she said to me? She goes, Mom, which mom would you be in this one? Because you just had Glenn's mom, right? That was like, oh, but she really needs to talk to him. And then the mom pulls the vodka out. And I was like, oh, I think I would be Glenn's mom because I let you guys get away with a lot. And she goes, oh, and I'm like, what? You think I would be the one with the vodka? What are you saying? And she's like, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I thought like throughout her like kind of spacey gentleness, I don't know. I kind of dug it. I don't know.
The only thing that drove me crazy about her was her fucking makeup. I was like, who is doing this? I don't know what it is. Something is wrong here. I don't know if it's makeup or the hair color.
80s.
Oh, it's called the 80s, Tawny. Her hair color and her makeup.
Everybody else looked normal.
Yeah.
She did not. It was like, why did you choose the hair color, the skin color, the lips? Everything was all pretty much one color.
Oh,
I was like, what are you doing?
I thought she looked, I really liked the way she looked, but I do see what you're saying, how they made her all really one color. I don't know necessarily that it was her choice, but maybe she's not a natural blonde. So it just didn't really look that great with her skin tone.
I have to say that the one thing that I really liked about, one of the things that I really liked about this movie was that all of the teenagers were kind of like the empowered ones and the ones that were like making the moves and doing the right things, even though most of them died. All of them died, except for Nancy. But for a switch, like the adults were the morons. Like there wasn't one smart adult in this movie. They were all idiots. And I maybe that's why I loved it so much when I was younger, because I was like, like, we know what's up. You guys are stupid. But like, it was so frustrating to watch how she's like, how you were saying, like, no one's listening to her. Even, and the scene that was like the most frustrating was when, you know, Glenn's dead and all the cops, her dad's out there, and the idiot who's like, watch my daughter's house and let me know. She's like, okay, the house is on fire. She's broken 2 windows now and is screaming. And that doofus is still standing there like, should I go get the sheriff? I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe I should go get him.
Yes. I love that line too, that she's like, get my dad, you asshole.
Yeah.
I have a list of reasons why I feel like Nancy is the shit, and that is my sub bullet under she's direct. Because she's like, get my dad, you asshole. Like, you're watching this girl and you don't also see somebody behind her in the window. I don't know. It just was like, get your shit together. I agree, adults. The other thing is, I think all of the teenagers feel really real. Like, they're not like way out of nowhere, like stupid. You know, they're smart. You know, not all of them are listening to Nancy or taking her totally seriously, which I think you wouldn't in this situation, you know? And it's like, I just felt like all of what happens in the sequence of events and the reactions are very realistic. And so I liked that.
Yeah, like they weren't a bunch of like dumb, like, let's go in the woods or let's go into this haunted house that we know people have died in. The only one that was dumb was Glenn, but he was like typical blonde, like dumb blonde. He was the bimbo of the movie.
Yeah.
But everyone else was like, oh yeah, no, this is some real shit that's going on and I'm not trying to contribute to it. I want to like put an end to it, which was nice. A lot of the other like horror 80s like movies with teens in them, they're all just dumb and they walk into shit.
Like in Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and they just all die. You know, they're idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I was like driving me crazy is I was like, Rod, for the love of everything holy, would you please use the word invisible, bro? He's like trying to explain to Nancy like what he saw because he saw Tina get killed, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't see anybody there. And he's like trying to explain it to Nancy. And then I thought, okay, so hold on, I'll finish my thought. I was like, just say that whoever was there was like invisible, like you couldn't see them, but he like refuses to use that word until a long time into the conversation. And finally he's like, it's like she was being cut by blades, but the blades were like invisible or something. He says it later. And I was like, I don't know, maybe this is how you would talk, because saying it out loud would sound so fucking crazy. But it was irritating me in the beginning. And also their conversation about the dreams. Like, I was like, you're not shitting your pants. Everybody here has had the same dream with the same fucking person. Like, and no one's talking about it or freaking out. Those were the one moments that I was like, okay, come on, though. Like, somebody say something that makes sense here.
I wrote down a couple of quotes that I just laughed so hard that it made me write them down, including the gigantic coffee pot. But when the mom there's just these lines where the mom was talking about, she's telling her the story of Freddy. So she's telling her daughter the story of Freddy. And I don't remember what the daughter asked, but the mom goes, the lawyers got fat and the judge got famous. I'm like, shit, that's fucking great. It made me laugh so hard. And then when the cop outside was like, so great, he goes, you don't need a stretcher, you need a mop because of all the blood in Glenn's room. That was a good one. But I was just like, it just made me laugh because it was just so, but it was like we were talking about with Jason, that language, that verbiage that people use, and it seems so corny and ridiculous. People don't talk like that, but they use it so much in those older movies. Trying to think back, like, did people talk like that? Like, why are people talking like this in these movies? Because it's so silly, but
I have one to add to that. The fact that Nancy continues to call her mom mother was driving me fucking up the wall. I was like, nobody does this. No, I don't, maybe in the 80s, maybe, but I fucking doubt it.
Oh, I have something about that.
Mother.
I mean, unless you're like pissed off and you're like, right, mother, which maybe she was because her mom was not listening to her.
I have something about that, Tawny. I have something
she uses
about
it
that
all the time, though. Yeah, tell me.
That it was a very distinct that she calls her mother and her dad daddy, to convey that she has a closer relationship with her dad and a very kind of troubled or pained relationship with her mother.
Okay.
But it's fair if it didn't come across that way. You know?
I would have preferred Marge.
Marge, that would have really made a point, right? Yeah, I agree with that.
I did love at the very end when they all get into the car And she's like, I'm not going to be an alcoholic anymore. Okay, great. And her friends show up. And then they put the top up on the convertible, and it's Freddy's sweater.
Yes.
And I was like, they already know there's going to be a sequel. You know, I mean, when they made the movie, they didn't know that the $1 million investment was going to be a $53 million or whatever your number was, 57. You researched it well. Profit, but they already knew there was going to be a sequel, and I was like, oh, it was kind of impactful.
Yeah,
Like we're not done here. We are not done.
I have to disagree with you. I hate the ending. I think it's so corny, like more corny
It's pretty
than
corny.
the rest of the movie. And yeah, it drives me nuts. Like I knew it was coming when I rewatched the movie, and I was like, I fucking hate this part. I don't know. It just so. I mean, I kind of like when he pulls her through the window because it's so stupid. It's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
But the car thing, I'm like, I don't like that. And when I was doing the research for the kit, I actually read that the studio had him change the ending because they wanted to leave it open for a sequel. And Wes Craven didn't want to do it, and they kind of forced him. So that's what they ended up with. And he hated the ending, but he had to do it that way. And I was like,
interesting.
that's right. Me too, Wes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I do think that the ending sort of negates what happens later. Like, it does feel like a shoehorned in. Now that you say that, it feels like a shoehorned in, like, we're going to open this up for sequels, because they sort of insinuate by the end that she is dead and everybody's dead and they're trapped by Freddy Krueger. But Nancy survives. Sorry, spoiler, y'all. But again, these movies are pretty old, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that she comes back in one of, maybe more, the sequels later. So it's like...
Do they explain that?
No.
Like, oh, she's just back. She's fine.
Yeah. She's just like, what up? I'm alive. Like, and I felt like that was really weird because I did know that she comes back later before watching the movie. And so I was like, this is weird because they're making it seem like she's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I can say with Trish, I did too. When the top came down, I was like, oh shit. Oh, he's got them. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. If that's not the case, maybe they should have maybe the top came down so we could see it. And then the car just drives away. Like they're not trapped in the car. And then the mom gets taken. So then you don't have to explain why that one girl is not dead. You know what I mean? Because they did make it seem like they're done. I thought they were done because I haven't seen any of the other ones. That was my impression, is that they were done. I liked how goofy that mom was like, I don't remember what she said, but she was like, it's a beautiful day and I'm not going to drink anymore, baby girl, or something. I was like, oh, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
It made me think that she was dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew everyone, or at least I thought all those people are dead, but she's still alive. So she must be sleeping right now. Like she's having a dream and he's still in her dream. Like that's how I thought the end was when I had seen it.
See, I thought because the acting was so bad that at first she was dreaming, definitely, because it was kind of bright and diffused and the mom was so clean and sober and all of this was going on. But then I thought, oh, it's just that, like, I mean, the acting was bad. So maybe they're good. And because she said to Freddy, I want my friends back. So, and how they died was so, what am I trying to say? Supernatural, almost. Like you could believe that if Freddy wanted to, that these kids could come back. Almost
like they're trapped.
Yeah, some of them. I mean, I don't know if they buried that one boy, but Glenn, like they didn't even find him, right? There was just like blood everywhere. So maybe they could bring him back. But yeah.
And can we talk about how Marge died? There was a light show on her bed and smoke machine. And that was about it. Right?
This is the one that I was like, please. I wish just one tiny change would have made this stand the test of time better. And it's not the arm. She like raises the skeleton arm. I was like, if it had just been a static skeleton that just descended into the bed, I think it would have like held up better. But I was like, oh, so she's got to wave goodbye.
Yeah, agreed. That was probably the worst scene for me.
Yeah.
But the part right before where his head comes up out of the bed.
Oh,
that was cool.
Bad. I did like those practical effects. I even liked when they were when the crucifix kept falling off, and there was that person that came through. I mean, I'm in visual effects now, and I kept thinking, I was like, very effective, and that was extremely cheap. That was a cheap effect, but it was very effective. I thought it was really, really scary, and I feel like if I was asleep and I imagined that happening, like that's really frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I thought that was great.
Thing.
I had heard from, I think it was in one of the interviews with Wes Craven. I'm sorry if I'm stealing one of your trivia points, but I think this was the impetus for A Nightmare on Elm Street is Wes Craven had a vision of some being or somebody like reaching out from the darkness to like touch like somebody like this. And that was the seedling of an idea that sort of spawned A Nightmare on Elm Street. And so that scene is the scene that everything else is built on top of, I believe. And I agree, it's so fucking effective and it looks amazing. It holds up. I'm not even sure how they did it. Like, it's so good. And there's like, in this movie, there is a set of things that look amazing and hold up and are legitimately scary. And I think that's one of them. The sheet, like you're saying, his head coming up in the bloody sheet. I was thinking you could be this for Halloween. This would be a great Halloween costume. Setting that aside, just needed to put that out there. The other scene that I think is, two favorite scenes, my top two favorite scenes. Number one is Tina's kill scene, because her getting like pushed around in the air and then like thrown up into the wall and the ceiling, and it's just there's fucking blood everywhere and she's screaming. Yeah. All of this was so scary, so well done. Yeah. And then my second favorite was the dream sequence when Nancy falls asleep in the school and she sees Tina in the body bag out in the hallway. Amazing. All of this is like super well done. Even like when she has her feet picked up by Freddy, who you can't see because he's invisible, and dragged down the hall. I was like, this is like something that you would see in a movie today. Yeah. This is like that level of production value and scary. And like, I just loved all of that stuff. And then the sequences like with Freddy, I think are not as scary, right? Like they're kind of hokey. They're funny. It's him just like running around with long arms or cutting off fingers. It's like, I don't hate them, but they are zany and they're like out, you know what I mean? But that part is like the actually scary scenes. I was like, this is fucking amazing. I'm like blown away by these nuggets hidden in this otherwise kind of campy movie.
Yeah. I have to say right here in my notes, my two favorite, said the girl being killed on the ceiling. I loved it. I was here for that. I was like, wow, this is really great. And then I loved the girl in the body bag. Those were very, very well done. I totally agree with what you're saying.
Because I think you were right, Felicia. The gore parts are like, or even the Freddy parts, Tony, are like not necessarily the scariest moments. They're almost slightly comical because
totally
he's
comical.
Like a zany guy. But those other elements, like bring it on.
Yeah, the whole school scene was like great. Even like the kid at the front of the classroom, whatever he's reading, he gets all like, rah, rah, rah. I was like, oh shit, I forgot this part. Oh,
yes.
Scary.
And all the other students are frozen because I love this kind of shit is like my favorite. I love like dream sequences type shit because it's like, I think there's a way to do it that it feels really real. And I think they really fucking nailed it in this movie. And I think they continue to nail it because there's this, element of you never really quite know. Are they dreaming and are they or are they awake, or when did they start dreaming? You know, like it's
Mhm.
really fucking blurry.
Yeah.
And yes, like this part is so fucking good. I loved this scene. And then she goes down and it becomes the boiler room. Like I like how they all kind of end up in the boiler room. So, like, because that's exactly how dreams are. Like you're just dreaming and some shit's happening. And then you turn around and some other shit's happening. You're either in a different place or you're talking to a different person who's like the same person as before. Like it just, none of it makes any fucking sense.
Like
but it makes sense in your brain.
7 stories.
Yes.
You know, I was like, we just kept going down, 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 down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's very clever because you can get away with a lot knowing that it is a dream. Because when you're watching, you're like, I actually, TT, my little one, was on her way to go to bed while I was watching the movie. And she's like, why is that girl running that way? Talking about Tina in the very beginning. She's like,
oh, yeah.
And she's like, why is she running that way? And at first you could say, oh my God, this acting is terrible. But you can actually forgive it because you do make bizarre, decisions in dreams that don't make sense. And so, you know, that it's very clever. I like the idea of the dreams and it's terrifying. And that is one thing I remember being a young girl and having horrific nightmares and thinking like, oh, I could relate to these kids in like not wanting to go to sleep because of the nightmares and how terrifying that would be. So you have to go to sleep. You have to go to sleep. But you know you're going to have this nightmare, and their nightmares are obviously next level because they're actually getting physically hurt. But it's a great, terrifying idea.
100%. Dude, I was like, I thought as I was watching this movie, and this is, I knew about the concept of Freddy before I had watched this first movie, and I think I actually caught a clip of probably the 5th one or something at some point. So I was kind of familiar with the concept before actually going back and watching this. But I have always felt like the concept is so fucking strong. It's like, because you cannot escape sleep. And if he can get to you in your sleep, like, what can you do? There's there's no way out. And it's a terrifying prospect to be terrified to sleep, like you're saying, Felicia. I think it's one of the reasons why I love this movie, even though some parts are definitely hokey and like funny.
They did just so good on some of the horror or the scary parts, like we were talking about, and then so not good on the effects of other, like anything. It was so clear if there was any cutting that it wasn't really blood, or if there was like, I don't remember exactly, but if there was anything to the head that this was a doll, or the mom going through the fucking window, her little doll feet, you know, and then you have the blood coming out of the bed. Or the body bag thing was beautiful, or the woman dying on the ceiling, and maybe they just put everything into that. So then they're like, okay, well, they didn't have Tom Savini doing it.
Yeah, they blew their load.
Yeah. I do think maybe it's not fair to compare this to Friday the 13th, because what was the budget on that movie, Felicia? Like $50,000 or something?
It was ridiculous, but I can tell you while you continue. Go ahead. Yeah.
Super
I'll find
low.
out for you.
That was my one.
Oh, that was it. I was hoping you were going to say some more shit so that I could take a minute to.
That's because they actually killed people in that movie. That's why they could get away with that low budget.
Right.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard.
All right, I'm going to tell you right now really fast. Okay. So on Friday the 13th, the budget was $550,000 and they made $59.8 million. That's insane. But anyways,
not that far of a difference though from the numbers that I think you said for.
True. 1.1 million for A Nightmare on Elm Street, and 57 million is what it made. Yeah.
So I think those studios would call that a win-win.
100%. Also, New Line Cinema was saved from bankruptcy by the success of this film. And so they jokingly nicknamed it the house that Freddy built.
Interesting.
But anyways, I was interrupting you hardcore. What did you want to say? Miranda, I think
Who
you
you
wanted to say something.
interrupted? You?
I think Miranda.
Okay.
Who's chatty? Oh, we were talking about the shitty visuals. So one of the scenes that freaked me out when I saw it when I was 12 in the front row was the alley scene where his arms are like this.
I wasn't down with that.
That scared the shit out of my 12-year-old self because I lived on an alley and I was just like, freaked me out. And so I was like anticipating it when I was watching it a couple of weeks ago and it came on and I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So dumb. Like,
it was too, like, I didn't really remember the long arms, but it was too puppet. It was too, like, it was
cheesy.
No, cut those arms.
Yeah.
Bring them back.
Give them
That
no
scared the shit out of me when I was 12.
Yeah.
I was like scraping the walls and like his long ass arms because I knew I had to take the trash out to the alley. And I was like, fuck that.
No more trash chores.
Sorry,
I'm glad
Mom. You're taking the trash out. No, not doing
I'm
it.
glad you said that about the puppet because I have a little fun fact that the scene where Freddy's arms elongate were achieved by having men with fishing poles on each side of the alley operating a set of puppet arms attached to Robert. Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like.
I was going to say, you
Yeah.
can tell.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work. It doesn't hold up. I mean, I guess it worked for 12-year-olds at the time, but I feel like equally as scary would have been regular arms, just like, with the blades.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when he scrapes the side of the garage or whatever, the sound design on these moments where he's scraping actually made me fucking cringe. Like I was like, ugh, everybody hates that sound. It's so unsettling. And so like exactly what you're saying, like that could have been, and I do think less is more. I mean, for me, personally, I like the more subtle type of stuff. That's why I prefer those other scares to this stuff. Yeah. But I can see why it would be scary to a kid, right? Because it is kind of this uncanny valley where it's like his arms are too long to be normal arms, and that's scary, right? Just because it's something that you haven't seen before. But it doesn't hold up. And the way he runs too is just pretty like comical.
And he looks so tiny. I don't know if it's because of his arms, but he doesn't look daunting. It's almost childlike because he looks tiny compared to her, I thought, in that scene. For your scratching, just so you know, the famous scratching noise was created by scratching a steak knife on an underside of a metal chair.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Foley work is the most impressive. Like that sound design stuff is awesome.
Yeah. I have kind of gone through all my bullet points, but the last things that I have are why Nancy is the shit. And I know that people talk about Nancy being like one of their favorite final girls of all time, all the time. And I have a hard time when things get overhyped for me. But I think this is one of those things that wasn't. And I was really pleasantly surprised to get into this movie and be like, wow, she's great. I like her a lot because she's a fucking normal person, but she's like funny and she's also like realistic. And obviously there's some moments of like questionable acting for sure. I will say that. But
yes.
I liked that moment when she was like talking to Glenn on the bridge and she hands him the book of traps because it's like all she can think to do because she's like, what? How do you defend
booby
against
traps? Okay, sorry, Tawny, go. Sorry.
Don't ruin this.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tawny, go. Do it. This is good. This is good.
What do you think to do as like a, what are they, 16, 15, 16 probably?
Yeah.
What are you thinking you can do? So she goes and gets a fucking book on how to like protect herself. And I like that line a lot when he's like, what is this all about or whatever? And she's like, I'm into survival. Yeah. I loved that. I thought it was very self-aware in the movie itself, but like, it was just funny. And like, then she goes on to actually make the booby traps. I fucking love that. I like a survivor and I like somebody who is not just like passively trying to run away and survive. They're like, I'm going to fucking they get to the point where they're mad and they're like, I'm gonna fucking survive this shit. And that's what I feel like Nancy did. And she was direct and funny and fucking on top of shit. And I just appreciated her a lot. And I think I've promoted her to my number 3 favorite final girl.
Wow.
Ooh.
That's
Nice.
fucking great, Tawny. Dang. I think that's a really good point that you would do that as a kid. You would booby trap for sure. You would try to think of something like that. I think what made me giggle is, dude, this chick is legit when every booby trap is perfectly according to plan. Everything. Yeah. Freddy goes everywhere that needs to happen for all of these booby traps to go off perfectly. And I even put that, I was like, damn girl, everything went according to plan. Those are the type of notes I take when I'm watching a movie. I'm like, that's pretty legit.
And she didn't even test any of them. They just worked.
That's true.
They just
First
worked.
time. She, oh yeah, that worked. And he did the little switch and then it fucking blew up.
Did everything. I think my other note I have on here is all in caps, the script LOL. And I think that was a lot of it because I feel like the acting was better than Friday the 13th, where, the teenagers were definitely more realistic than, and this isn't a comparison to Friday the 13th. I just think it's because they came out around the same time and we hadn't watched them that I keep coming up with these comparisons. So it was definitely, the teens were a lot more realistic teen-like, and but the script was terrible. So maybe, and I don't have exact things, but even the communication between the teens, I thought, man, this could have been, just if this was better, it could have made everything even a little bit more better. That was a little more realistic, but.
I imagine that your bar of scary movies and horror films are much higher than my bar. Yeah. Maybe I haven't seen nearly as many, but I feel like there's been way more crap than this. And so I'm putting it on that scale.
I think it's totally fair. That's why I love talking to so many different people about different movies, because what we like is all different. Like there are people who just love these slasher movies. I like really disturbing things. Like my new favorite thing is this French extremity horror movies that are really disturbing. So there's things, or like psychological horror. I love psychological horror. And then, there's some people that love horror comedy. So I think it's just cool because there's all these different genres and everybody I appreciate. So if someone comes to the table and I'm like, oh, I really didn't like that movie. If I was talking to somebody and they're like, I fucking loved Pet Sematary, I was, that's cool. Like I love to hear like why they liked it and be able to share why I maybe wasn't into it. But that's why I love this like horror community so much, because everybody loves so many different things.
For a temperature reading, have you seen April Fool's Day?
Yes.
Oh, shoot. I have not.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, we better put it down. We'll put it down for a movie recommendation.
True product of the 80s. Yeah. Okay. Well, at the end of that movie, I love that movie.
Guess what? I don't remember it. I remember some parts.
Okay.
I haven't seen it since it came out.
But don't give away the end, just in case.
No, I'm not going to give away anything.
Okay. No spoilers.
But I'm going to say, maybe I shouldn't say anything. When's the last time
you watched it?
Way back when. But I really liked it. I really liked it at the time. I have not watched it since like its origin. But then I had a real thought. I was like, is this a horror movie or is it a comedy? What is it? And then, because when I was watching this movie,
black comedy,
on Monday night here in Los Angeles, there happened to be a very uncharacteristic thunder and lightning storm that lasted for hours. It was very strange. It was not in the right season. All things about it had weird global warming written all over it.
Lots of supernatural shit.
Very, very odd.
Oh, no.
But it was my opportunity before this podcast to really watch this movie. And I was like, well, this is super fitting because it is an unbelievable night for it. And my son came in, who does not like scary movies, and he's like, I really don't like scary movies. And I know that he kind of like heard it starting and heard the music and stuff. And it was like, no, I know. And that's when I was on the uphill of the roller coaster. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like it either. I mean, we're going to wait and see. But I didn't say it to him, but at the time I was like, a horror movie is like, there's two sides of that coin. There's the two sides of the coin. Right? It's like your scariest moment, your immediate reaction is like insanity laughter. And I feel like there's that flip that could happen when you get really scared sometimes. Yeah. You don't have any other reaction but to start to laugh inappropriately. And so April Fool's Day, go watch it.
That's it says it's a black comedy mystery slasher film.
Yeah.
And you know what? I recognize the cover. I've seen this in the movie. Yeah. Her long braid that's tied into a noose. And I think that's probably like when I would go to Blockbuster and see the cover of this. Yes.
That sounds familiar to me too.
Bits and pieces. I know I've watched the whole thing through a couple of times, but in the late 80s. But I remember little pieces of it.
So you guys have to do that one week, and we're going to listen to your podcast, but hopefully you'll tell us before it even airs. I'm dying to know what you think, and if you think that two sides of the coin of horror and comedy have anything to do with anything, because this was a long time ago that I watched it.
They for sure do. Like, Stephen King talks about this all the time, and I'm going to fuck up this quote, but he says something to the effect of, like, horror, when it stops being funny when it starts being you. But he talks a lot about this, like, they're two sides of the same coin. Like, it's funny up until you think it's something that could happen to you. And so that's why people will be screaming one minute and laughing the next. So it's like, totally, they go hand in hand, and a lot of people like say that they are in the same vein and they're affecting people, you know, like, I think there's something to be said for that, because there's like a direct reaction. Not like when you're watching a romantic comedy. I mean, I guess you might cry or something, but when people laugh and when people like scream and cover their eyes, those are extreme reactions to what they're watching.
That's a really good point. I mean, Tanya and I know we're not huge horror comedy fans, but we've gotten more, like, we've liked more horror comedy that we've seen over the different movies that we've watched. So I put that down in our movie recommendation Slack channel while you were talking.
I wouldn't say it was my favorite movie of all time.
Okay, you're like, let me just preface.
But it's an interesting one to analyze, probably, because it does that little flip around.
You know what I think you both might like, based on, and Tawny, tell me if you think I'm nuts, but based on just the movies that you're telling me about, is Black Christmas. This is such don't you think? Like,
yeah, have you guys seen it?
Have you seen Black Christmas?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I do think you'd like it. There's some similar elements. Yeah.
Well, she wasn't sold on it. When I first said it, she was like, maybe. And then all of a sudden she was sold on it.
She's like, I guess.
I was thinking about how real world scary it is, but there are some comedic elements that I had forgotten about. That's why I came around.
Okay, good.
There's some similarities.
Yeah. Not the newer one, not the 2019 one. The what year? 1974, Black Christmas. I think that you guys would like it, especially with the different movies that you're telling me that you like. I bet you'd like it. And if you don't, no hard feelings, you know, just.
Yeah.
We can watch that on Christmas with our kids.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yes. Great Christmas movie that you should be watching every Christmas holiday.
I'm going to rewatch it around Christmas. I'm excited.
Too. Like, I was serious.
Our mulled wine and our New York sours. And we'll be
Black Christmas.
Tanked at 10 a.m. and go for it.
As soon as the kids start getting on our nerves, we'll be like, hey, we're going to watch a Christmas movie. Come gather around.
Gather round.
Yes. Yeah, that was surprising for us because we weren't sure how we were going to feel it being an older movie, and we both loved it. And it was one of our, that was such a fun conversation that we've had on it.
We both gave it 5s.
Yes, we did.
Rated it so highly. Yeah, it's great.
When I was like, I have to rewatch this movie. and I was like kind of getting stumped on our kit. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I need inspiration. I'm going to watch this movie tomorrow. And it was like late on like a Tuesday night. And I was like, I'm going to go to sleep. Blah, blah, blah. So as soon as my daughter went to school Wednesday, I fired up the movie at like 7:45 in the morning.
Okay.
And watched it over coffee. My husband's like, what? You're watching this right now? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, cool, let's watch it. But,
Nice.
His favorite part was, and the part that he made me stop the movie, was when she pulled out the booby trap book. Because he's like, whoa, what is that? What is that? Pause it. Go back. Pause. So he could see the cover, and then he like did a Google search because he thought it was and he researched the shit out of it. It's not a real book. But he found the book that it was probably loosely based off of, and the cover of it and everything.
Wow.
I can't remember what it is, but I'll find it and I'll send it to you. Because
This is serious research.
He did it in like 5 minutes too. He's like, whatever that book is, I need to own it because that's fucking rad. And he's like, it's not real, but I found this one.
I agree.
Yeah.
The last fun thing I think I have to say about the movie is that I kind of really like those fiery footprints at the end that were going up the stairs.
Yeah.
And then when she was running up and she kept like sinking her feet through and they were like marshmallowy, I was like, that is exactly like a dream. I was like, that is the most frustrating elements of dreams, is that you're constantly like getting trapped and slowed down and like walking through mud. And so I thought that kind of saving that to the end and that being kind of like the last sort of like chase run around, I was like, you just want her to be able to go faster. And, and it was like this marshmallow and she couldn't. And so I sort of like that.
Yeah. And I think that's going back. You already mentioned this, Felicia, but just going back to that first scene with Tina when she's running, she's like actually fucking running, right? But she's moving at like a snail's pace. Like, I think that's why it looks funny, but that's exactly what it is like to try to run in your dreams. And so I like that consistency throughout the entire movie. Did you have any like outstanding trivia points, Felicia? Because I did
like 16 pages of outstanding trivia points. I don't know. Nice. What specifically? Yeah, there's a lot here. I have things about Freddy and him as a character. I have things you can share trivia. You don't gotta hold back. I have a lot.
Well, I didn't look any up, so I don't know much. But maybe it's worth like just going over the origins. Yeah.
Yeah, because I did look up Freddy specifically, like not just Nightmare on Elm Street, but Freddy as a character. And there was some interesting pieces. For example, Freddy is a serial killer who uses a gloved hand with razors to kill his victims in their dream, causing their death in real world. In the dream world, he is a powerful force, but he's vulnerable in ours. And then how he can be, when he's in the human world, vulnerable to like death and what... because he is brought into the human world. Anyways, he also said Robert Englund, who played Freddy, said many times that he feels the character represents neglect, particularly that is suffered by children. That character Freddy reflects neglect suffered by children. I'm not sure, but the character also more broadly represents subconscious fears. I already told you about the cases during that time. Something I thought that was interesting. Craven's inspiration for the character included a bully from his high school during his youth and a disfigured homeless man who had frightened him when he was 12. And he has a big story. I won't go into it, but how this homeless man was staring at him and he was super scared and he looked back and the man was still staring at him and then even lunged towards him and said, "Yeah, I'm still looking at you," or something. So that was something that he remembered as a kid. Also, the glove was inspired by cat claws.
Oh, okay.
Wes'
I do have
cat.
a question about the gloves, because in the beginning sequence of the movie, they showed him like walking up and like putting it together almost. Like he was like
welding it.
Yeah, and I assumed that was after he had gotten burned. and had like come back, and this was like his weapon of revenge. Like this was his tool that he was going to use to exact revenge. But then later, Nancy's mom is like, oh, we burned him, and I even took his glove. Which would, like, I guess make sense, because if he was killing children, it would make sense that he has a murder weapon. But I just was like, I don't know. I got a little confused about that. I don't know if you have anything in that.
Yeah, because it did look like, well, he made it before he was burned, I believe, because in that sequence where he's making it, he's not burned on like his hands and stuff.
Were not burned.
Yeah. So, but the idea behind the glove was a practical one on Wes Craven's part. He wanted to give the character a unique weapon, but also something that he could make cheaply and wouldn't be difficult to use or transport. So at the time, he was studying primal fears embedded in the subconscious of people of all cultures and discovered that one of those fears is attack by animal claws. So around that time, he saw his cat unsheath its claws, and the two concepts merged together. Although the original script, the blades were fishing knives, not steak knives, but he put those together, and then they ended up being razor blades. Straight razors. Yeah.
Scary. I would not want to get cut with one of those. That's for sure.
I don't think so.
And it's disturbing to think that he put that together to kill children.
Yes.
It's nicer. Yeah, it's nicer to think that he did it after he was burned to kill the other people in their dreams. You know?
Yeah.
Like old ass teenagers is fine.
Yeah, old ass teenagers is fine, but not little kids. Like fucking gross, man. Yeah, exactly.
But as a movie watcher of The Nightmare on Elm Street, the first go around, you didn't even know that during most of the movie.
Yeah,
right. The first time you saw it
until the end. So you see the human hand unburned, welding and making the weapon, and then you're flashing forward to the teenagers, and then they're getting killed, and then they have these dreams, and it's going on and on. It wasn't until way later that we even knew that there was actually history.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you never see it, which is nice, because that would be horrifying. But that's crazy, because I never even, until you just said it, Felicia, I never even pictured it. Like,
sorry.
Oh shit, who used that glove to kill little kids? I was
sorry, everybody.
Use that glove to kill Tina and Glenn.
Right. Old ass
teenagers.
Old
ass teenagers.
They were asking for it, talking back to their parents.
Okay, maybe I'll make it better. Maybe. No, she said I took his glove. I can't take it back. Because the reason is because I want something I've read while I was researching was that in the first movie, his face is burned, but nothing else. But as the movies progress, more and more of his body is burned, or is portrayed as being burned up as the movies go on. But in the first one, it was really just his head. So then I was like trying to take it back, but she did say I even took his glove, didn't she?
Yeah.
So we're screwed there. Freddy was supposed to be a silent killer, like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees.
I'm glad he wasn't. I'm like, I don't know.
It made him this dark humored villain that he has become. Now makes him stand out, right, from the other ones.
Yeah.
He's got some good one-liners. So
for sure,
see, that became his staple, right? So our guests, what would you rate the movie from 0 to 5? Anyone can go first.
Do you want to go first? No. Okay. I will say that I had a rating in mind before the start of this conversation, and it has gone up 1/4 point.
Oh, we brought him up. That's great.
It went up because I'm like, you know what? No, I like it even more. I was going to say 3.75 originally, but I'm like, nope, it's a solid 4 for me.
Great score. Great score.
Solid 4.
Solid 4. Miranda.
That's very interesting. Because for me, I had a score coming into it, and I've changed it, but it's gone down.
Whoa.
Oh no.
Oh, this is exciting.
This is
And
exciting.
my original score was 4, and now it's a 3.75.
Oh,
We
you
have to even each other
flip-flopped.
out.
We did.
Wow.
And the
I
only
love
reason why I think I brought it down is because one of the comments you made was like, okay, overall, like, out of all the horror movies, I'm like, well, if I'm comparing it to like everything else I've seen, it's got to come down a little bit because it just has to. I mean, it's, for me, it's probably like 70% nostalgia, 30% movie that I really like about it. So I can't give it like a super high rating because of the nostalgia and feel good about myself.
All right.
That's
fair.
fair. And me and Tani do that all the time where I'll come in and she'll either talk me up or down. We usually, if we really like something, another person doesn't, it's our goal to like bring out all the
Yeah.
trivia, everything we possibly could to at least raise a half a point.
Mhm.
Tani, did you want to go or you want me to go?
Yes, I can go next.
Okay.
So I'm going to give this a 3.6.
Holy shit. Seriously?
Yeah. Are you surprised by how high it is?
Yeah. Compared to
Yeah.
like your other, yes. Compared to your other scores that are like, damn, that's close to some stuff you really liked.
Yeah, it is. I felt like I couldn't go
Wow.
high. Like I couldn't go to a 3.75 because that's what I gave like Mama, and I really enjoyed and The Strangers. Like I don't know if I liked it that much, but I liked it more than the last. There's like a run of movies. There's 3 movies that I rated a 3.5, and it was Raw, High Tension, and Scream. And like those are just like, I can appreciate them for certain things, whatever, but I think I do like this movie just a tad more.
Wow.
And so 3.6 is where I landed.
Holy shit. That's insane. That's great.
It's a good score. It maybe sounds like it's bad.
Like when she gives a movie a 4, that is an excellent score.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great for Tani. Like that's her, you have to go see it if it's a 4. So if it's a 4 or
Mhm.
above, it's like out of the park. So
It's
to
winning
get
an
this
Oscar.
close to a 4, geez, good job, ladies. Okay, so my score is a 2.8. But listen,
Oh, 0.5 less
Damn.
than Friday the 13th? Are you kidding?
is this legit what I was been saying though? I said I enjoyed certain things about Friday the 13th that little bit more, like as far as the kills, I thought looked better and I liked the kills. This is going to sound weird, but the Friday the 13th made me laugh so much. That I actually enjoyed. I didn't get bored throughout it. I wanted to see what came next. And there was pieces of A Nightmare on Elm Street where I was feeling a little bit bored. But then there was things I like. So yeah, it's 0.05 points less than Friday the 13th, but I enjoyed the movie. And I also got to, kind of can't make everything a 4 because I kind of started doing that, 3s and 4s. So yeah, a 2.8 is only, and I enjoyed it. So I know that sounds like a bad score, but I feel like in my heart, it's not. That's how much I enjoyed it compared to some other things that I've seen. So got to take that into consideration. We've watched a lot of movies. This is episode 70 for us. Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yay. Thank you for
Thanks.
being a part of it.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Miranda and Tricia from Rocks, Paper, Salt. Thank you so much for collaborating with us on this amazing kit. We love it. And we're going to have amazing drinks for the rest of the weekend. Can't wait to buy your future kits. I would love for you to share with everybody where they can find you, where they can buy your stuff.
You can buy it off of our website, which is rockspapersalt.com. Super easy.
Simple.
Super easy.
Should they follow you anywhere on social media or
you should
anything? Or nah?
probably follow us on Instagram. And our handle is rockspapersalt. Pretty much that's our main.
Yeah.
That's
we
good.
pop up in other places, but really it's Instagram and our website.
It's simple. It's easy to remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. This has been a blast. I absolutely loved it. I know Tawny did too. And so thank you. Everybody, we will be watching Child's Play next week. And I'm so nervous because this is Tawny's favorite. So really want to like it. So really excited about that next week. Reminders, please go order your Sleepwalker cocktail kit. Go check out our Instagram. We have made tons of videos and tons of pictures. You can see just the quality and how amazing it is. It's totally worth it. And the flavor of the drink is absolutely phenomenal. It was super fun. So absolutely go check out rockspapersalt.com to get your kit. And yeah, you can find us. Oh, another post that we had is we have just launched our website. So 2chicksandahorrorflick.com. You can find everything there, our social, our Discord community, our merch, everything. You can even find links to buy the cocktail kit on our homepage of our website. So please go check us out. And Tawny, what else?
You can support the show by subscribing and giving us a rating review on whatever you're listening to us on. And you can catch us on every podcatcher.
That's right.
Yeah, so thank you guys again for being guests, and we're signing off so that we hope you guys have such a good night. No nightmares.